Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and Shalom to the sincere Akim, spreading the truth and sincerity. Shalom. So in this video, I actually wanna, speak on something that I came across on Instagram, and of course, bear with me. We do know and understand that not everything that is being published on there, is like a legit source that we are able to use, but the information in there is actually quite interesting to speak about because I've spoken about these things left and right, in the past, and the title of the post or the first page of that whole post, it mentions that the end times is an old Jewish slash Zionist psyop. It says after thousands of years, Hebrew prophecies about the end times and the conquest of the Jews over the entire world still haven't happened, so they are simply making them happen. So bear with me right for a minute, because a lot of people that are upon this earth right now, they do believe that the small hats, as we refer to them, the people that claim to be the chosen people in the land of Israel and, in the places where they are at all upon this earth, those that claim, basically to be the real chosen people. They're a facade. They're not the true, people of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Shai. So we need to understand that, these people that are bringing forth these posts, they do come from that perspective, right? That those small heads, proclaim to be, the chosen people. And that's actually the same thing that, we see happening time and time again, with the people that, call themselves Muslims, the Muslims, the people that believe in the Quran, you know, they perceive those people to, to claim themselves, to be the chosen people, right? And when you have that perspective, and then you look at, what those people are actually trying to do and accomplish upon this earth, then you really think like, yeah, they still, they still don't rule, how you say that, they still don't rule the entire world according to how they are supposed to rule it according to the scriptures, so yeah, seeing that they are the right hand of the Heavenly Father, they are bringing forth, those prophecies written in the scriptures, man. The wars, rumors of wars, the pestilences, heck, even the earthquakes, man. They got machines out there that are able to create earthquakes in diverse places. They're able to, create famines with their weather modification tools, the equipment that they have. They just make sure that a certain place experiences a drought. Without any water, the crops won't grow. They're able to do such things, man. And there was a little bit more information that was basically, written below the post itself. It says, in the shadow of ancient prophecies, The Zionist obsession with the end times isn't a modern phenomenon, but a deeply rooted psyop stemming from Talmudic doctrines that span millennia. And we know that Zion, and before I want to continue, man, the true chosen people of the Heavenly Father are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And they are actually Zion, which Zion in the Hebrew is, if I'm correct, was Tazayawan. And Tazayawan means monument, something that you can look towards, wherein or wherein something is being brought back to your remembrance, or something is basically being, seen as memorable. So we are Zion, the monument of the Heavenly Father, you know, and the Zionists that, exist in this day and age, they are a group of Amalekites that actually have this philosophy or doctrine out there wherein they wanted to create, the state of Israel, a place, where the small heads basically could find refuge and basically grow and, settle and whatever. But the way that they established that, was never according, to biblical principles. Because you also have small head Orthodox Amalekites, or hey, they might even be Jake, man. They might even be true Israelites, but they look like those small heads. They look like Amalekites, right? Just like how I look like a so-called white person, and whomever I meet from a specific, quote unquote, so-called white country, these people say, man, you're Polish, you're Albanian, you're this, you're that, and the third. So if I'm an Israelite, according to blood and faith, how much more are there going to be Amalekite-looking Israelites out there as well, due to the diaspora? But I digress a little bit. But there are Orthodox, small heads out there that are not in favor of what those Zionists are actually, doing and trying to establish, because it goes against biblical, doctrine, basically. Because they do know and understand as well that it is going to be the Heavenly Father that is going to bring them back into their own land. And we're not like, in favor of, like free Palestina, because we understand, what is going on over there. We understand that those Ishmaelites, they have no portion, over there in the land. That belongs to us, the true chosen people of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? So whatever's going on over there, it just needs to happen according to, the will of the Heavenly Father, man. You see? Because they're going to be basically heathens and strangers, in our land, fighting over our land, but it ain't their land, Reading on, it says, this manufactured apocalypse, as depicted in the image, promises Jewish dominion over the world, a conquest that has failed to materialize naturally, leading fanatics to engineer global chaos to force its fulfillment. And the thing is, what they are actually trying to accomplish is that new world order, indeed, wherein they want to be the sole ruler upon this earth. They want to be the sole ruler upon this earth, the sole governor, And indeed, what they are doing, what they are trying to establish, they are trying to use indeed man-made, things, that are in line with the apocalypse. Why? Because they think within themselves that they're able to basically take the things written in the scriptures, look at it as a fairy tale, something that ain't true, but use it, for their purpose to establish, something that they want to establish, which is not the case. The Heavenly Father has got them in a trick back in which He is going to, bring it upon their own paid, bring it upon their own head, because what they're actually doing is they're fulfilling biblical prophecy. And whether the people want to believe it or not, it is going to come to pass that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they are going to rule upon this earth in true righteousness. That is what we are going to, do in the future. Something that we're not able to imagine right now, but it is going to happen. It says for generations, these beliefs have fueled a relentless drive, rationalized as divine birthright, where wars and crises serve as stepping stones for power, consolidation, all while others bear the brutal costs. And there are points in here that, is true, because basically what those small heads are doing, they're funding both sides of the war. And what they're trying to establish, is order out of chaos. So they are, by the will of the Heavenly Father, they are creating, all the quote unquote madness, negativity, that is taking place upon this earth. But it is all in line with biblical prophecy, man. You know? It says history echoes with dire warnings from scholars and leaders who foresaw this peril, predicting that extremist elements within Jewish Zionism would ignite catastrophic world wars to advance their agenda as early as the 1920s. Henry Ford's seminal work, The International Jew, the World's Foremost Problem, exposed this is the chilling article, Will Jewish Zionism Bring Armageddon? A title that resonates eerie with today's headlines. Ford and others highlighted how these groups profit from bloodshed and economic ruin, positioning themselves closer to global control, a pattern that has persisted unchecked for centuries. It says what strikes deepest is the timeless accuracy of these insights. Over a century later, Israel's actions continue to pull America and the world towards brinkmanship, mirroring Ford's prophecies with uncanny precision when you grasp that certain behaviors and ambitions remain unchanging across eras. It all clicks into place. This isn't coincidence, but a calculated script playing out. The image just serves as a stark reminder the end times aren't fate, they are a deliberate fabrication, urging us to awaken before it's too late. And I mention it actually often, how that you have this scene in Resident Evil where in the back you have the cross of Malta, where they want to basically usher in, a new world, by biblical means. So like I said at the beginning of this video as well, Esau Edom, the so-called white men upon the earth, which also includes these Amalekites, which are the small heads, and the Turkish people and the people from Greece as well. They look at the scriptures, they look at the Bible, they see what needs to take place, and they're trying to use that, to their own benefit by trying to create these things artificially. But what is actually happening is the fact that the Heavenly Father is using them on the right, so like on the left hand side, because the Heavenly Father is using us on the right hand side, but He's using them on the left hand side, to usher in, the War of Armageddon, World War III, Jacob's trouble, fulfilling these prophecies so that our kingdom can be established, you see? And that is what we are heading towards. You know what I mean? And when it concerns this guy, Henry Ford, this man was also an insider, man. Because you can never be at a certain level without having certain inside knowledge. Same thing with the creator of The Simpsons and whatever. Bringing forth certain things in their series or cartoons. And then years later, it coming to pass, you'd be like, huh? How did this guy know? Well, this guy knew because he's an insider. He was already being told about the plans and what finna happen. He just put it out there as part of their satanic agenda because people that basically believe in Satan, they believe in karma. They believe that if they withheld certain things from the people, and they put it forth, they have to basically be recompensed. But the moment they put it forth and they allow the people to be informed about, what they're trying to do and establish, but the people, are not going to anything against it, then that's basically on them. Like, we told you, y'all didn't do nothing, suckers. So that's basically, what these elites are busy with, man. Trying to establish, their NWO, but the Heavenly Father is going to, prohibit that from happening. They're just being used because this world needs to face judgment, and they're gonna bring it to the brink of that point wherein, Yahweh Shai comes back, the angels come back, judgment is being put forth, and basically this earth is going to be, basically quote unquote rebuilt. And what I mean by that is the society is going to be rebuilt, with the new rulership, new government that is going to be established, which is going to be consistent of the elect of Yahweh Shem Shai, you see? And that is what we are actually heading towards. We're getting closer and closer to these days. But in the meantime, you're going to have people out there that believe that whatever's happening is a psyop, is fake. But what these people do not know is because we do not understand that the Heavenly Father, He revealed His secrets unto His servants, the prophets. So we know that those that need to be informed, they know about what is going on, and they see like, yeah, you're right to a certain degree, but you don't have everything. Because the point that they don't have is that they don't, understand like they need to do the things that they're doing, which might seem like a psyop, which might seem like they're trying to fulfill something that doesn't belong to them. They're forcing it, in an artificial way. But that's just the way of the Heavenly Father, dealing with these situations like that. That's part of the Heavenly Father, His plan, right? So what we just need to do in this truth is we need to set out that roller coaster right. Go along, go with the flow, you know what I mean? So yeah. Yaharatazai, this video was edifying. I didn't put any scriptures, I quoted some things here and there. But Yaharatazai, it was very edifying. And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the other apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and shalom to the sincere Akim, spreading this truth and sincerity. Shalom.